Wife fed me a little white lie, and I don't know how to react. I need to set the stage for this one, so thanks to all that stick it out and offer to help. My wife and I have been married for 7 years and together for 10. We are both avid motorcyclists and spend quite a bit of time riding, although often separately. She prefers to go out riding late at night on the weekends and for a while got in the habit of not checking in with me. I imagine any husband whose wife is out on a bike at midnight would worry and has every right to ask where she might be. We got into a lot of fights about it, and it seemed very difficult for her to want to keep her whereabouts unknown. She claimed I was smothering her and being excessively needy by having to know where she was at all times. We worked through it, but I was never really content with how she begrudgingly followed suit like it was some kind of chore to keep me posted about where she was and when she might be home. I brought this up in therapy, and even our therapist raised her eyebrow at the late night rides with no check in. Still, my wife never seemed to see the problem. Fast forward to a few weekends ago. My wife was out riding and it was getting late again. I sent her a message asking if she was getting dinner while she was out. She responded with a simple, "Yeah, I'm good, thank you, love." I was kind of hoping she'd give me a little more details as it was getting dark out. Some time passed and I responded by saying, "Sweet, I'm gonna be home for the night. What are you up to?" I didn't get a reply, so I followed up with, "I really dislike when you don't care to tell me what you're doing out on a Friday night." Maybe this was a little forward of me, but she knows how frustrated I get in this situation. We've dealt with it so many times in the past. This made her very upset and we ended up text arguing. She then gave me a talk to you later and said she was going to keep riding her bike. Naturally, I kept texting. After a few messages, she responded by saying, "I'm trying to drive my damn bike and you are blowing up my phone with this, which is uncalled for. I don't breathe down your neck asking your every move and respect and trust that you please do the same. It's exhausting." I had a hunch she was not riding. Maybe what I did was uncalled for, but I drove over to her favorite late night eatery slash bar and walked inside. She was sitting at the bar. Her bike was parked outside and I put my hand on the exhaust. It was cold. Less than 10 minutes had passed since she told me she had to slam on the brakes to respond to my messages. There was just no way an exhaust can cool down that quickly. Once again, maybe I crossed the line here, but I felt severely betrayed. I went home not long after and I sent a quick message that I knew where she was. We argued about this big time. We made amends and she told me that she would be better about checking in with me in the future. That's not the white lie though, but simply a precursor. Up next is the real issue I'm dealing with. This past weekend, she was out at a local cafe slash bar doing some work. She was being really good about checking in with me, but it kind of felt festered out as the night progressed. She told me she was going over to her office to finish some work, and that was the last I heard of her. I was heading home for the night after a late gym session and called her to check in. She did not answer after the first call and called me back a few minutes later. While we were chatting, I could hear others in the background. She was also kind of talking weird. After a minute or so, she told me she was getting a call and had to pick it up right away. I kind of understood as the importance of that call was something that affected both of us. We were in the process of buying a new home and the seller's agent was calling. I was expecting a call back with some news, but the call was never returned. An hour passed, so I called her back to see what she had learned about our offer. She didn't answer, but responded with a text, "Call you in a few." When she called back, I could tell she was in her car. She started telling me about what she had really learned and how long of a conversation it was. How she also called our lender to check some numbers. It really didn't add up, and I was sensing some plot holes. I asked, "Where were you when you called?" She said, "Well, I'm driving now. I pulled over to talk to the seller's agent." I said, "If you pulled over to talk to him, why could I hear people in the background when I called you?" She didn't have an answer, and I let it slide. It felt so off. When I saw her later that night, I told her I just wanted her to be able to feel like she can tell me the truth. I was hoping she'd come clean, but it never happened. Now on to today. I checked her phone records because I just couldn't shake the events that was happening that evening. Not at all to my surprise, she had lied to me. After my call to her, there were no other calls. She had pretended someone was calling to just get off the phone with me. When I confronted her, she said she was hanging out with friends and just wanted to enjoy herself, and it was easier to just lie so that she wouldn't have to face my reaction. I was so hurt at this. She's not great with apologies and slapped together "I'm sorry I lied to you." The problem I face is that there's always a follow up. She told me that she feels she needs to lie because I'm insecure. I also don't trust her more, and it always feels like I need to give her room to breathe. I need to work on myself more and become more confident and trusting. It all seemed like justifying her lie. Somehow this was my fault. It was not a great conversation, and neither of us was getting any points across. All I know is that she felt betrayed yet again, and I don't know how I can trust her. I also feel terrible that she couldn't simply admit what she did was wrong and followed up by making it about my insecurities. Am I wrong here? I genuinely don't know what to do. We haven't talked since, and I could use some advice. Thank you to all who sat through this one. Edit. A few weeks have passed since I wrote this, and I wanted to offer an update for those who requested one. To cut to the chase, we are getting a divorce. Honestly, experiencing this gamut of emotions has been excruciating to say the least. I wish this on no one. When I was fielding for your much needed replies, I was staying at an Airbnb to give us time away from one another. She was livid at first, but she quickly realized the importance of the time away. I myself had plenty of time to reflect on many of the responses here and spent all my free time journaling to work out my thoughts. I returned home after a week and we had our heart to heart. Much to my surprise, we both came forward equally with the proposition to separate. Now, I don't believe she was cheating and I don't think it's a substance dependency. There were suggestions that seemed to percolate to the topic of this thread. Perhaps I am naive as well, but at this point it no longer matters. Regardless, what we have is a textbook case of two people who aren't right for one another. We have fought hard to save our marriage over the years, and quite honestly, the feeling of failure is the hardest part to cope with. Beautiful memories of our early time together surface in waves and manifest as tears. Her and I grieved the loss at different times and in different ways. There will always be the doubt and questioning of, could we have made it work? Hopefully, the years will reduce that doubt to a whisper. In conclusion, we are both amicable at this phase and hope to continue a friendship into the future. That is, a friendship not carried over from a previous marriage, but one rebuilt from scratch. In some ways, I can sense our relationship already healing and improving. I hope this may be a predictor of the future. I am about to close on my own home soon. There is a subtle undertone of fear in the loneliness ahead, but I can see that quickly becoming eclipsed by the opportunity to rebuild myself. I look forward to the journey and growing and learning to love who I am as an individual. I wish her the best as well. Thank you to everyone whose insight helped me work through such a difficult time. Commenter 1. Put on location track. She just honestly says at the start what she's gonna do and when she'll be back and only text when she deviates from it. There's no need to keep communication going, which I understand can be smothered for her, and you know where she is at all times. You both seem to have an issue and both don't listen to each other and fixate on their own. Search for a solution for both issues together as a team. OP. I appreciate the suggestion. I recommended the location tracker previously only when she's out late riding. She did not like the suggestion and it never ended up happening. I don't understand what was so hard about just getting her location. Like, was that just like an ultimatum for her? Like, no, you cannot have my location. I refuse to let my husband see where I am, and I hate that he cares about my safety when I'm out late at night. Oh man, grr. Like, what the fuck did she think would happen? You'd have her location, then you text her every 5 seconds. Oh, why are you driving here? Why are you driving here? Oh, why'd you stop? Oh my god, are you at a red light? Oh my god, oh my god, are you coming home? Oh my god, you're on your way home. Oh wait, why did you just turn away from home? Oh no, oh no, ah! Like, no, bro, like that is the obvious solution. Like you could even like she didn't even want to try it. She was just like, nope, I don't want you to have my location. Bah. Like, if there was nothing weird going on, you wouldn't be against having someone's location, I feel like. Like, isn't that kind of obvious? But I don't know. Maybe like the update could explain that. Update, nearly 2 months later. Hello all. I wanted to offer one last update on this saga that is my failed marriage. Anyways, we both amicably decided to separate, so I thought. Admittedly, it was a healthy choice for both of us, and from what I just experienced, I am only more confident moving forward and finding my peace. In short, I have always been the consistent income. Her industry is seasonally dependent, and as much as I wanted just leave, I knew I couldn't just ditch her to figure out her survival on her own. Initially, she had suggested we separate but live under the same roof until next May. This would have given her the safety and confidence to push into her busy summer months. For context, this update was made on November 13th of this year. Of course, I said hell no. I felt that was a crazy suggestion. For one, there's absolutely no way that wouldn't further poison our already toxic relationship. Second, I really saw the need to break away so that I could heal and rebuild my life, which had effectively been decimated. I decided to buy my own house, but I offered to stick around financially until she could earn the funds she needed to start her new life. We had been cordial for the week or so that I finally closed, and I was settling in. Dare I say, becoming friends? My new house was barren, and I quite literally celebrated the purchase of a new couch. As a side, you really don't appreciate a comfortable place to sit after a long day of work until all you have is a wooden bar stool and a worn out rug from your old home. We had continued to show each other little acts of good faith, but after a few days, communication went dark. To be expected, I guess? I was loving the serenity of my new home and was beginning to experience a love for myself I haven't felt in years. Honestly, not having to talk with her brought a sense of relief. One item I wanted to be sure was made right was a water heater leak at her house, my old house which I still own. I noticed when I moved out. I called the plumbing company to take care of it as I have a busy work schedule. Admittedly, it breaks my heart to even enter that home, and I was just as much avoiding that. Sadly, the plumbers canceled twice and I was getting impatient. I figured I would just handle it. I let her know I would be dropping in and she was more than okay with it. I'm a decent plumber and knew it would be quick work. I arrived on site and diagnosed a pinhole leak. I drained the lines, cut the damage section, and whipped together a repair. Voila. Her trench can was in the garage, and naturally, I needed a place to toss the wreckage of my plumbing job. When I opened the lid, what do I see? A whole ass box of used protection. I was shocked. My heart sank. I had been out of that house barely a week, still legally married, and here I am fixing her house and offering the financial support she needed to move on. I knew in my gut that I no longer wanted to be a part of this. I needed to be free of this misery. I texted her a photo of the water heater with a good as new. If you wouldn't mind, just keep an eye on it for the next day or so. She eventually texted back a thank you. I told her to call me tomorrow so we could chat. My heart was racing for hours. I had felt some insane lows this past month or so, but this was obviously the worst. I wasn't ready to talk to her. I needed food. I was spent. Well, she called. She has a real anxiety about call me kind of text. In a way, I knew this, but I genuinely needed the night to sleep and collect myself. Phone rings. Guess we're doing this, I told myself. I started the conversation by letting her know the water heater is good to go, but she may want to have a professional take a look within the year, followed by, the next part of this conversation will be difficult. I did not directly tell her I knew she was already hooking up with someone new. I only saw my own destruction in making it my business or even thinking of it. All I said was, I know you've moved on, and I know how you've chosen to do so. I then told her I was removing myself from all shared accounts and she would need to figure it out from here. Boy, she was livid. What was that term you guys caught in my first post? Darvo? Yes, lots of that. Tons of gaslighting followed by name calling and accusations. She even insulted my character, telling me she thought I took pride in being a person of honor and respect. Word? She kept alluding to how she thought we had agreed to being allowed to have our needs met. I didn't say it outright, but I really think she has a twist of what that actual need is. How about financial security? How about a soft landing with your husband of 10 years that you claim to want to remain friends with? So why am I writing this? A couple of reasons. For one, it's the end of my tale. This is the worst I will ever feel about this, and it's only healing and growing from here. Second, a lot of Redditors believe she was cheating in my last post. I didn't have any reason to believe it, but after how quickly she jumped on some D immediately after moving out, maybe y'all weren't far off. Third, kind of to vent, I guess, I also had to put down my cat with cancer hours ago. My god, what a day. Either way, I am so glad to leave that toxic mess behind. I want to so desperately believe I am making the right call to cut all ties, but I wonder, did she owe it to me to try and put off her urges until we split finances? I'd be curious to hear others' thoughts. I hope to learn and gain from any and all input. Needless to say, this will be my last post for the foreseeable future. Thank you all for your insight as I have pushed through my story. Commenter. A whole ass boss to views protection. Brother, I know it stings right now, but if she's this quick to physically move on from you, then you need to do everyone and yourself a favor and emotionally move on. That also means cutting her off, and cutting her off from everything else financially, etc. It would also indicate she's probably had something already lined up before the divorce, maybe even before, possibly. All speculation, but boy is that a quick turnaround time. Figure out the house, figure out the divorce. Only talk to her about those things, and for the divorce, do it through your lawyers as much as possible without charging you. Move on. I really tried not to just think about the fact that she was maybe cheating on him with like the whole she doesn't want his location thing. And the reason I didn't want to think that at first is because most Reddit stories or like kind of have the whole oh she's probably cheating thing or they're probably cheating thing. And I don't want to just jump to that conclusion right away when I'm reading a story because that's kind of stupid, every situation is different. However, I did have this kind of feeling in the back of my mind that like some shady shit was going on in the back and this just happened to be it. And he honestly, like the commenter said, definitely needs to cut off his wife entirely so that he can heal from this correctly, if there even is any correct healing way to be done here. I'm not really sure, I'm not old enough to know that. But either way, let me know what you all think in the comments below, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.